decide how it performs.
Well, since television would be making a choice from among criminal trials, the rating thrust would demand that it pick the most sensational, the most salacious, the most prurient, the most lethal, the most violent. I would suggest child molestation, rape, and murder would appeal mostly to television.
And if there turned out to be any dull parts in those particular trials, they'd be edited out? Is that the idea?
Oh, if it was a live television transcript of the trial as it was underway, there would in any case be 3, 4, 5 cameras. Each of those would be reflecting an image to a monitor, a bank of which sit in front of a director. He would, and even in the event of a live transcript of a trial, be making editorial, judicial choices from among the pictures. He would be editing. He would be presenting a highly subjective, theatrical performance of that trial. If it was to be edited for transcription later to the television audience, he would be even more selective and more theatrical, making sure to go where the action is, where the sensation was, eliminating, quote, the dull parts.
Now, suppose he succeeded in that. What would be the effect on the television audience and the various components of it?
Well, I think it would be disastrous. For the television audience in its entirety, it would be appealing to their most prurient, basest instincts. For children, it would be unthinkable. Television comes into the home in the nature of a public utility without prior censorship or description. Children would be in front of a set. It would violate the National Association of Broadcasting Code of Ethics and Behavior. We'd have language and references and theme and incident that are banned everywhere else on television. To that part of the sick public, it would be their great Congress in the sky. They would have a Valhalla of degeneracy.
How did you like Mr. Miller's idea of cassettes?
The mind boggles at the idea of cassettes. One could take home a cassette called Murders I've Loved Best and play it over and over again. I can think of nothing better calculated to appeal to that section of our audience that was psychopathic to begin with, or that has a leaning in that direction, or even a normal audience whose taste would be traduced.
Mr. Miller?
Well, let's talk about the educational purpose. I mean, your position is that because television is commercialized, we should only see about the law on commercialized shows rather than learn about the way it really happens in the courtroom.
Nonsense. I think what television must do is illuminate. It must not confuse.
And would you have
I think it is totally at conflict with the calm and the intelligent decorum of a trial, which is the search for the truth.
And would you have objected
And
to
at stake
televising
is
the
life
Watson
and
trial?
freedom.
Would you have objected to televising the Watson trial? Would you have prevented the televising of the Watson trial in Denver, which was seen throughout the United States last year?
I would object to the televising of any trial where a man's freedom or life was at stake.
Well, now
Could you think of a single private decision in your life that you'd like to have televised?
Yes.
Mr. Sussman, let me make it clear that we are assuming... I'll take you off the hook on that.
Okay.
We're assuming that in this case, and I think our audience has to know, we're assuming that the defendant has consented, in any case in which we're talking about, to having the trial televised.
And, of course, we're not talking about a private decision. We're talking about something that, by the Constitution, is a public trial. As a matter of fact, the whole movement of history in this area is for more and more public trial. The vice is the secret trial, isn't it?
There is no secret trial because the television reporter is welcome. Nay, he is always present at the trial.
But he has to communicate through these lovely cartoons.
He reports on the Cronkite newscast or the John Chancellor newscast exactly what took place in the time allotted to him.
So you trust the television reporter and the corridor interview with Charles Manson and the incidental mention, but you don't want to go inside the courtroom. Isn't there just as much danger on the 11 o'clock news of the reporter misinterpreting what happened?
No, none whatever, because they're crack reporters and their job, their livelihood is interpretation. I have total faith in them. The thing I'd like
You've gone downhill. You started out with a laugh.
Can you tell me, though, any use that would be served
Yes, the use would
to
be...
the citizens of America in the televising of the Manson
Yes,
trial?
I can think of an enormous use. I can think of the use first that people would see what went on, and if jurors fell asleep or judges were foolish, they would see that. And I see, second of all, growing public awareness to support what must be done in the courtroom and really deal with criminal problems instead of arguing about them in ignorance.
Mr. Sussman, Mr. Miller, I want to thank you for being on the evidence, Mr. Sussman. Mr. Cavett?
We will return after this message from our local stations.